Oh, you have? Oh, good.
Well, if you're rolling, Dan has just changed his name to Kick Six.
Oh, jeez.
Because clearly this young man outkicked his coverage and scored multiple touchdowns. Met his wonderful better half, and I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, thoroughly impressed. Like, thoroughly impressed. Like, you've done well. Like, very well. For somebody who knows nothing about juvenile, Rick Ross, any popular culture, I mean, you definitely bagged you a bad one.
Oh, jeez.
You should play that for your wife.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, kudos to Dan Harris. I mean, you must have watched Hitch, because he clearly showed.
Are you taking a phone call right now?
Can I call you back? We're about to record another edition of the
Patch
podcast.
it through.
And now I'm actually getting...
Put it on speakerphone.
Yeah, can you put him on the... Can you put him on the speaker? Who is it?
It's my dad.
Get Pops on here.
Hot take on the Vikings, baby. 1, 2, 3. Talk to us about shrimp and chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Hey, they're on a roll. The defense is finally starting to play like they know what they're doing. So
I'll take that.
I think they're going to be on a roll for the next little while here.
Appreciate it, Pops.
You heard it here first. All right, let's start.
I'll call you back in like an hour.
And here we are, another edition of the Bullpen. Welcome inside. We've got Dan Brobes, Brandon Velasquez, Ido, and JP back in the bullpen for episode 3. Sorry we took a week off, guys, but we are back here in the bullpen and getting ready to talk sports with you for the next little while. Let's take a hydration check, everyone. JP, let's start with you. What will we be drinking this evening?
Gonna stay with the team's sexy complexion, getting that 2 gallons of water a day in. Got this Metro Mint. Metro Mint, as always. Holla at me for the
Sponsor.
You gonna write you a check?
I do need. I was trying to think of a digit for the sponsorship, and I got stuck. So Metro Mint, man, send somebody from marketing over. We could chop it up. We can get this money.
Great minds think alike. Ido, what you got?
I skip the soft mint crap. I just go with the straight H2O, all natural.
He's Adam Sandler.
But Ido's
circa...
not getting paid, though.
Yeah, I know,
JP just got paid.
Yeah.
Probes?
This Trumer Pills from Berkeley, California. It was what was left in the green room fridge. I didn't bring my own in today, so...
Also left in the green room fridge, Lagunitas Maximus, although this is one that I do purchase regularly. Very good IPA. Here, 8.2%. So we'll see how I'm doing in about 20 minutes. All right, let's jump into top stories. The World Series has begun, friends. Game 1 on Tuesday night. A bit of a hiccup, though, as this one started. The fourth inning, I guess the middle of the fourth inning, right? The production truck loses power. I wasn't watching. I was in commute.
Well, Brandon was the only one.
Yeah, so give us some play-by-play, bud. Give us some play-by-play on how this went down.
They come back they try to come back from commercial, but instead of coming to commercial, they go into the FS1 studio with one of those 2 Canadian hosts that do the nightly show, and then Frank Thomas. No, it was Dontrell Willis and I think it was Eric Karros. We're standing around this table, and it was really awkward because I thought, why are these guys on? We should be listening to Joe Buck and the rest of his gang. But then they informed us that they were having technical difficulties, and they kick it back. They try to kick it back out, and even like that crew there had no idea what was going on. Like, he was legitimately dumbfounded. He's like, so we're going to go back to Joe. And then there was silence. And so eventually they took
cricket. They
took the international feed, which had Matt Vasgersian and John Smoltz and the MLB Network graphics and everything. They took that for a little bit. They tried to go back to the FS1 guys, and they said, okay, now we've got Joe Buck. Nope. They send it back, and it's still Vasgersian, it's still Smoltz. And this was like a good inning at this point. But then eventually they come back from another commercial break, and I want to say this is like the bottom of the 5th at this point, that you hear Vasgersian, but you also hear Buck. And Buck, Harold Reynolds, and that crew literally went into the booth where Vasgersian and Smoltz were and just took over their audio equipment and took over that broadcast. Like, it was fascinating that they could not. Usually, like, when you see these technical difficulty things happen, it's 10, 15 seconds, and they apologize and they get it worked out. This was a very long delay in a very big game. It was very weird.
Did Vasgersian explain at all what was going on, or was it just the studio guys?
No, he did.
Okay.
He explained why you were hearing them.
Wait, Albeit a short period of time, did anybody take a poll to see how excited fans were not to hear Joe Buck's voice?
Everybody was on the Vescursion Smoltz bandwagon, including myself. Like, because those guys, again, they're
solid already.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they're, the other three were just, you don't want to deal with Buck and Reynolds.
Yeah, I was listening to the ESPN radio call on my way home, and it was funny because it was Dan Schulman doing the play-by-play, and he said, well, Terry Collins comes out of the dugout, and he's really animated. And then you're like, what the heck is he complaining about? And then it's like, oh, the replay's down. It's like, oh, why is he complaining about the replay? Like, why is he that animated about that? And then it was like, oh, well, our monitors here are out too. And it's like, okay, what is happening in Kansas City now that all the TV is gone? And I actually felt like I had more of an idea what was going on based on listening on the radio than obviously anyone at home probably had.
Well, you did, and that's the thing too. Like, if all this stuff goes out, like this was the middle of it, or it was right after Harvey's at the first at bat, and like so this is the middle of an inning. Matt Harvey's like walking around behind the mound, just waiting around. Like you can't interrupt a game because television signal's down. I get that the NFL is kind of dictated by TV now, and I understand all that. But like this is a little different in regards. You cannot you've got to keep going, and like it can throw somebody off. I mean, I don't think it really threw Harvey off. He got through the next couple batters fine, but it was just fascinating that they used the replay as an excuse. Like you can work around. Like that was very much BS, and they wanted to see how much time they could delay until Fox could get their crap together.
Yeah, and then Buck said later in the game was the generator, and he kind of made a crack, I think, at one point when the game was in extra innings that, oh, we got a bag full of quarters, we'll be here all night. I mean, they kind of had fun with it, but still, that's the worst time for that.
Can you imagine?
That's extremely embarrassing.
I mean, can you think of a bigger game when something like that happened? I mean,
Game 7?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Or, yeah, I mean, well, the Super Bowl a couple years ago, remember they had the power outage.
No, but I mean, like, in the past.
That was planned.
Yeah.
Well, the comeback happened.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, almost.
But, like, that's something, that was the arena. That wasn't the broadcast.
The interesting thing here is the highest rated game one since 2009.
Yeah.
Do you think people flipped over to see the Follies?
Oh,
if they were on Twitter and said, "Oh, I got to see how Fox is handling this."
Yeah, I would.
I just wondered. I'd like to see the ratings, the spike, if it went up after all this stuff started happening, to see people tuning in just to see that. I don't know if they could do that, or if it was just. That would be my question. Were people
like hour by hour, minute by minute.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to see that. Well, some other drama surrounding that game: the death of Edison Volquez's father. Now, Evan, it was about an hour before the game when this was reported initially.
It was some point, from what I had read and kind of followed it was Tuesday afternoon is when the word came down. But what was interesting here was that, his father in the Dominican is where he passed away. And then it's that point of, well, does Edison know what's going on? And he's, probably less than an hour or two from pitching game one of the World Series. And what was kind of the interesting thing was that it came out on Twitter and everyone knew what was going on, but then you realize that Edison didn't know what was going on. At least at first, that's what it seemed like. And then there was a report that, well, he did know what was going on. The Washington Post on Wednesday had a really fascinating story about how this all came together, also from Fox's perspective, in terms of deciding they made the decision not to talk about it during the broadcast, because a lot of these times in MLB clubhouses, the game is on a TV in the clubhouse. So if he happens to hear that at some point, obviously that would be, one, devastating from a personal standpoint, but then, everyone kind of wants him to still pitch and perform well. And this story actually in the Post mentioned how it was Volquez's wife who told the Royals, don't tell him. This is the biggest game of his life and his career at this point. Let him go out there and still do what he needs to do. So the Fox crew, Ken Rosenthal, made the point that, like, if this was any other kind of instance where he was writing or it was on Twitter, they put it out there. And he later did put it out there and said that they knew what was going on, but they just made the decision because of the personal nature not to reveal the fact that his dad had died. And, we were talking about it earlier. It kind of raises the interesting question. One, would you have put that out there if you were Rosenthal, if you were Fox? Two, if you were Volquez, would you want to know in that instance? JP, I'll start with you on those.
I don't think it's their place. I would have left it alone.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Would you have wanted to know?
No.
So you're on Team Volquez.
I pretty much would have stepped off the mound and cried like a small child.
Oh yeah.
For the next, I don't know, 4 months of the year.
See, I actually disagree only in the sense that I feel like family is bigger than work and sport in general. And if he had found out, perhaps he wouldn't pitch game 1. So Johnny Cueto pitches game 1, and then he pitches game 4 after he goes down and figures out what's going on. But that's just my personal opinion. I would like to know, and I would say, guys, either it's going to motivate me in game, which I can't imagine it would have with an hour to go. You've heard about these stories about people having children the morning of their game, or losing someone the morning of their game and going and playing and having the game of their life, kind of a thing. Maybe not an hour before, but in my opinion, I would rather know. And then if I have to go to the team and say, hey guys, I gotta go deal with this, and then you move up the starters. I mean, they had enough rest; they could have easily shuffled the rotation for him.
Well, I read that Ned Yost, the manager of the Royals, had told Chris Young, he was the only guy that he told, because he was going to start in place of Volquez. They decided that they were going to tell him, but then they obviously found out, or from his wife, that she didn't want them to tell him. And the first 2 innings he was perfect, 6 up, 6 down, and he pitched really well considering the circumstances. And a lot of people thought that he did know at that time, so you were like, wow, this guy's really pitching well despite the situation. Then you find out later that he didn't know. But still, like, for me, like, if I was athletically gifted enough to be in that situation, like, I'd want to know, and I know either one of my parents probably would be okay with me going out there and pitching and then showing up with the family later like he did.
You look at it from the drama perspective, the fact of you got a game 1 starter, his dad passed away, you didn't know, he still goes out and performs pretty well, game remains close. You then add,
the Fox stuff.
The Fox stuff where the TV fails, and then you had the Royals come back, rally and tie after being down, and then you had Hosmer with the ball off his glove down the first base line.
The redemption story.
The Mets take the lead. Hosmer then, eventually getting the, getting on base, etc. Gordon homer, Hosmer eventually gets the game.
I get all that, but maybe for me, like, the instant classic thing is I got to be a little more entertained, and I don't think I was as entertained as most people were. But that's just me. Like, I'm different than a lot of people.
Either way, start to a fantastic series.
Yeah,
which should be, it seems like.
All right, well, we got one more week of our theme song being baseball related, so we'll carry on. Let's jump into Peep the Ranks for this week. We check a ranking of something or some people in popular sports. This week we're checking out the NBA preseason power rankings / predictions for Yahoo. And once again, looks like the Warriors are predicted to be the top team in the league. How we feel about that, guys?
JP? Since you were heavily in the discussion of baseball, we'll let you.
I mean, Warriors started hot last night, or if
it looked good.
It happens on Thursday. Their first game they started hot. Steph Curry is a flamethrower. Until somebody in the West can prove that they can dethrone the champs, I have no problem with them being a number 1 team in any preseason poll.
Here's the thing with them playing. I mean, obviously, so many times the defending champs, you talk about the fact that they play so late into the season. They have a shortened off season because of it, especially in the Warriors' case. Steph Curry off the court exploded this off season, appearances all over the place. They stepped in and acted like they were playing Game 7 of the finals, and still had to keep going against the Cavs. It was pretty remarkable the way they played against New Orleans. And some made the point too about Alvin Gentry being an assistant on the Warriors staff, now leading New Orleans. He might have an inside idea of how to stop them.
Didn't work.
They had no clue how to slow this team down.
The only caveat I'll give, and don't get me wrong, I think the Warriors are definitely one of the teams to beat in the West, but New Orleans had like 6 guys out. Via injury in that game yesterday. Not that it would have mattered, and Anthony Davis played probably his worst game as a pro. But yeah, the Warriors, they still look like the team to beat.
I'm really interested to see how OKC does, and that's because now Durant and Westbrook are at full strength and healthy again, but especially to see what Billy Donovan does now leading that team.
But you're also on OKC, so that is another caveat.
Because I look like Nick Collison? Yeah, I'll give you that.
I also would like to...
It's not my other paychecks.
When I was looking at everything today to get ready for this, I totally forgot that Billy Donovan was the coach of that team. It shows you how little I pay attention to the NBA.
So looking at these rankings here, guys, in the West, we've got Golden State 1, Clippers 2, Houston and San Antonio's a coin flip 3 and 4, Oklahoma City 5, New Orleans 6, 7, Memphis 8, Utah. Do you want to make some picks and predictions here for the Western Conference based on these?
San Antonio is a sneaky pick to to win the West.
They got the best coach in basketball.
How are they sneaky?
Okay, no, I'm
Well,
just
it's not
saying.
sneaky, but-
Like the fact that they're like people are predicting them to finish like 4th or whatever, and then they got ousted in the first round last year. People are going to say that they're old, blah blah blah. But yeah, like JP pointed out, they have the best coach in the league, and I think that combo of Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge is going to be fun to watch. And Duncan might just be like, you know what, I'm just going to throw everything into this season,
This is it.
leave it all on the line, and just go for it. And
I mean, he's single.
yeah, yeah, single, ready to triple double.
Old
Or
man
double-double.
Old man basketball.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, San Antonio was the 6th seed last year, so I mean, no one thought they were going to be a 6th seed. They struggled at points last season. How's LaMarcus going to fit in now with that offense? You've got him and David West now. I mean, I guess it kind of fits Pop's idea of having so many guys
Throw bigs
play
at him.
25 minutes a night, and it really allows them to spread out, take nights off, only play probably 70 games.
They're gonna slow down the game and punish people in the box.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
brutal. But to go to your point, Dan, if you had to pick somebody, oh, God, this is tough.
That's going to be a fun
is
conference to watch.
Is it Golden State again? I mean, are they a lock to be that top seed?
I think until they get knocked off, yeah, you have to kind of give them that.
My
credit.
completely with no knowledge
Yeah.
of any
Less than me, and I have
none
very
in
little.
the NBA, I'm going to say that Houston knocks off Golden State in the second round.
Wow.
Nah, man. Houston doesn't have a center. They got the softest marshmallow
Yeah.
powder puff, sorry excuse for a center in basketball ever. Should be the most dominant player in the NBA. Is not. Too busy, I don't know, playing video games, making illegitimate babies, not focused. James Harden is now wearing Adidas. We all know what happens to people who wear Adidas. The Rockets
Wow,
are, the Rockets
he just
are not
looked at
it.
me because I'm wearing an Adidas jacket.
He's wearing the shirt.
Nah, come on, like
JP, full
Derrick
disclosure,
Rose.
he's wearing Adidas pants, so I don't know why he's giving me the business.
All right, let's
He is
preface
wearing-
this. Adidas shoes.
Okay.
You playing hoop, football, and Adidas, like only bad things happen. Like the Rockets aren't going anywhere fast. No, sir.
To go back to your point, Dan, so you think you like Houston, so you're saying...
I'm going off these rankings, just looking at a playoff
Yeah,
bracket.
so you're saying Houston's the 4 seed. I don't think they get past Oklahoma City. Who would be the 5 seed in that scenario?
If Durant and Westbrook are healthy, not a chance.
No way.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Well, and that's the thing. If
Right.
But they
those
got
guys
but
are
they got
rarely
Evan
healthy
coming
together.
off the bench,
They do have Evan coming off the bench,
getting at least 10 and 5.
Mess around.
taking some charges. The one team, and this is a total homer pick as a Timberwolves fan, they are going to be fun to watch. They will win 20 to 25 games this year, but they will be very entertaining because they are all like 22 and under, and they'll just start running up and down the court, alley-oop into each other. And with the passing of Flip, they'll probably have a little bit more, hopefully, passion to play with. Again, not expecting much from them, but they will be entertaining to watch. And they're on this evening, opening night. So I'll be tuning in. Well, actually, no, I won't be tuning in.
Hey, shout out Chris Harris. The Lakers are also on, but they're going to finish in last place.
Do we talk
so-
about the East real quick? Because the only prediction I'm going to make in the East is the Knicks are going to make the playoffs. That's it.
I had that done too.
That's my bold prediction. The Knicks are going to make the playoffs with Chris Stapps.
With Porzingis and his cornrows?
Chris Stapps, his cornrows, and Carmelo. playoffs.
Don't sleep on my Wizards, since I guess we don't want to talk about the East.
No,
Because
well, we can talk about the East.
I was gonna go
LeBron's
there.
in the East.
Yeah. No, are the Wizards the biggest threat to LeBron?
Someone voted and said it was the Bulls, and I just don't believe that. Granted, the Bulls won the first game. I mean, yeah, they're playing inspired basketball.
I don't take too much solace in the first night.
Their entire team will get injured again.
Right, exactly.
Like, they're made of glass.
No, Washington had some solid stretches last year. I like that.
I like the Wizards too to be the Cavs' biggest.
We talked about this before, how John Wall... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was talking about someone else we work with, that John Wall made a promise with one of the assistant coaches.
The turnovers.
That for every game he has more than 3 turnovers, he would pay him $100,
That's correct, $100.
$100. He had 62 games last year where he had more than 3 turnovers. So it's $6,200 that coach would have got. Last year, I think that coach gets at least $4,000, no problem. This year. So 40 games, I think he has at least 3 turnovers.
Damn.
It's okay. Collinson can sleep on John Wall all he wants. Once we're in the Eastern Conference Finals, we can revisit this podcast then, and people will be like, wait a second, JP wasn't crazy. Look at these Wizards.
By then, we'll have the technology to play back.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
So our picks out of the East.
Wizards.
I'll go Washington.
I'm going to stick with the Cavs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing, I'm just going
Right.
to go
Yeah,
with
me too.
See, this could also be
That LeBron fella's pretty good, right?
I've heard that. I've heard that.
But this is the thing. Every time
The
LeBron
Heat
gets to the finals with no
might
help,
be a fun team to watch too out of the East.
nobody helps LeBron in the playoffs these last few years. I mean, who's to say that doesn't happen in the Eastern Conference Finals where he has to carry the squad on his back?
No,
He gets
I
tired.
agree. But
JR
I'm
Swish
just-
doesn't hit anything. Flat top decides to disappear again. We're just going to take it.
Well, they are ranked number 2 in these preseason rankings, so
we'll
we'll see how
find
that
out
goes.
in May.
See if they're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Shout out to 202.
All right, moving on to some top social moments of the week. Ev, you want to break some of these down for us?
Yeah, first one, Sammy Watkins, Buffalo Bills wide receiver, got called out on Instagram because he's been hurt, been dealing with some stuff recently. And so he commented on his own photo underneath all the comments that everyone been posting. It said this: to all the people that have a problem with me being injured, you guys go out there and play this sport. It's a 100% injury rate. I'm not first or last person that's a gone be injured. Difference from me and you guys, y'all mad and I'm not, get a life and go to work. Stop worrying about my job because I'm good on this end and forever will be losers, most of you. Just wish to be in this position. So continue working y'all little jobs for the rest of y'all lives since everyone wants a response here. Go on, have a blessed day.
Hey, have a blessed day.
You know what?
It actually says go one.
Go one.
The best part about that is Evan read it appropriately as well as he could, but there are no commas, no periods. It is the longest run-on sentence, if you want to call it a sentence.
It's just an angry Instagram rant. Like, I understand. This wouldn't be as bad if Sammy Watkins hadn't begged for the football and got injured. But, I mean, don't we throwing rocks in glass houses here. Like, he's still human. I'm a former athlete. Like, I know what it is like to be injured on the football field. And these people don't work minimal jobs, so I wouldn't minimize a quote-unquote fan or a hater. It's just that, I mean, when athletes clap back, people take exception to it because you play a sport for fun, for a living. And other people that have quote-unquote real jobs, like you're a doctor or you're a pediatrician or you're an epic producer at Yahoo. Like, all these things do count, but, like, don't get at people because when people get back at you, don't get upset. Like, you threw a rock, he threw a boulder back. Yo bad.
No, I'm not upset that he got back at people. I'm just upset that he couldn't use punctuation. And my other favorite part of this is it's right underneath a comment from a girl. I assume it's a girl. So cute. And then you have this comment of Sammy just ranting and raving. I have no problem with him.
Hey, man, Clemson has to do better, man. Come on, Dabo. Got to get these guys in the classroom.
Yeah.
The only thing I think, though, if you're a professional athlete, do you have at least a mild responsibility to censor yourself? I know some of these guys can't do it, but to call fans losers and stuff like that, don't you think there's at least a little bit of responsibility there to say, hey, like, all right, I can respond back with some strong words, but, I mean, I don't know.
There is, but what is he, 23, 24?
Yeah, the losers are the people who had negative comments. The people who didn't say anything negative aren't the losers. So if you feel some kind of way about this, you too are just like Sammy Watkins in your feelings.
Well, I guess it depends. We only have one thing to look at here, what type of language he was dealing with in some of these. But I don't know. That would be my only thing is that if you're a professional athlete, you need to play the PR line a little bit and walk that line and say, okay, like, hey, if you got a problem with me, you don't know what it's like to be a football player, but don't be saying losers. Have a blessed day.
I mean, he ended it with a great sentiment. That's on my voicemail. I'm in
Here
full
go
agreement
one.
with this.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah. All right, what else we got, Ev?
I love this one as a Warriors fan. So any Warriors fan who's watched TNT over the last few years has constantly heard Charles Barkley talking about how this team would never win a title because they're a jump shooting team. That style just can't win a championship. Of course, the Warriors won a championship last year, so someone created a T-shirt that just simply said, Jump Shooting Team 1, Charles Barkley 0, in reference to the titles that Charles Barkley won, which was 0. I found it to be absolutely fabulous. I don't know who made it, but I might need to get one.
I think you should get one. If not,
That's
we'll
great.
we'll order you one.
Appreciate.
That's great.
But there's a great
Charles was
photo.
wrong.
Yeah, well, they had one. They had a photo of Charles wearing the shirt too, which is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he just looks. He looks as sad as he does
Over a
when he
button-up
tries.
shirt, which, again, I don't
Right.
understand why people do that.
He's a good sport. He probably
Well,
wore
no,
it
they
to take
probably
a
just
picture,
handed
yeah,
it to him,
and took it
yeah.
off.
Fair enough.
Would you want to wear that the whole telecast?
No.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? Is that a double X? There?
That's a 4XL easily.
Oh yeah,
It's, easy-
Yeah.
it's over the button up. Like, it's easily a 4X.
Oh, man.
totes.
Sir Charles. All right. Well, let's move on to one of our favorite segments here in the show. JP, got a little dating advice. So reports are Halle Berry is getting divorced again after 2 years. and she is now available. She's on the market for anybody out there. JP, what do you think,
You
bud?
can't see this, but JP had this crazy smile come over his face when Dan was reading that intro.
Yo, man, Halle Berry should just let me love her one time. Come on, Halle, come to the dark side. Let me fix all those wounds.
She's been to some dark side
she
before
has.
already.
She hasn't been to the chocolate side. I could rehabilitate Halle Berry.
David Justice isn't.
David Justice is very yellow.
Yeah, he's true.
He's also an idiot for laying hands on one of God's greatest creations. I think these other dudes just can't keep up. They're having a difficult time keeping pace, and Halle's just running through them.
Or is she running them out?
Yeah, I mean, Halle Berry might be crazy, but crazy has some positive caveats as well.
All right. So other than coming to the dark side, what advice would you have for Halle now that she's recently divorced? Any athlete prospects that you see in her future?
I don't think Halle Berry could do an athlete. Like, athletes just come with a bad stigma. Halle Berry would need somebody who's on her level. She needs somebody who's intellectually superior to her, who she won't just be able to talk to and walk over, because I'm pretty sure she's walking all over these. It's just Halle Berry. Like, what can you really say to Halle Berry? She needs somebody who's just like a little bit above her in the intellect, that can wrangle her when she starts talking nonsense, and that, I'm saying. I mean, I'm just describing myself, but I understand that. If somebody can throw her my contact info, it would be greatly appreciated.
I'm sure she's a regular listener, so we'll make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't she
Why
live in like Tiburon?
Why don't you
or,
tweet her the link to this?
Yeah.
She's not on Twitter.
Oh, well,
you
then
know, I
Facebook
checked
her.
that. No, she's not on there either.
Is she on the gram?
She's off the grid. But if
Smoke signals.
if
Can
I
we
can
get this via smoke signal?
she's in San Francisco, so if I can find a publicist or somebody who knows somebody, like, we can get in contact. I won't give up. I will be relentless.
I know yeah.
Good stuff.
We've lost JP now.
Yeah.
He's got a mission.
One other story just coming up. This was in, looks like Inquisitor.com. Kendall Jenner, one of the Kardashian crew, is reportedly dating D'Angelo Russell.
All that tells me is that D'Angelo Russell doesn't read the current events.
Yeah.
If he's getting into the Kardashian Jenner household and wanted to enter into that mess, good luck, man. Good luck.
That just sounds like a money move, because you know what happens right when you get with a Kardashian, you either get on drugs or you get paid. So maybe D'Angelo's just trying to get some extra money while in
Got
LA.
a nice rookie contract already.
Right, yeah, he's gotten paid. He can do just fine. He was the second overall pick. It's not like he
Gentlemen, America is not a country. It is a business. We have to make the money while we can, by any means.
Wow,
let that man cook.
he's yelling at us. No, I'm just saying, like, Chris Humphries, Lamar Odom, like, does he not, like, they mess up basketball players, not alone, like, they mess up all men.
Kanye.
But, like, exactly. So why would you want to even get into that mix? He's a 19-year-old. I get that 19-year-olds make dumb decisions.
Facts.
Like, okay, that's the only rationale I can have for this.
This won't last. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, no. There's no way. No way.
All right,
If this lasts, I'll be shocked. And I'll get a tattoo or something.
well, somebody that's not worried about money and is hoping it will last. Derek Jeter, set to marry Hannah Davis.
Yo! This is my homeboy Lawrence's favorite human being on the planet, Derek Jeter. First Derek Jeter story with this young Hannah Davis lady. They went out for pizza, and he made her pay for her pizza. Derek Jeter's a legend.
Well, it's because you spent all that money on the basket he gave her at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter's a... Hey, man, you pay for your own dinner, okay?
Well, she's a successful model. I think she can afford a $5 slice of New York pie.
Velasquez, the successful person here is Derek Jeter. We got
No, I get that.
Mariah
I get that.
Carey, Jessica Alba, Jessica Biel, Adriana Lima, Scarlett Johansson.
We know the lineup.
Tyra Banks.
That's all-star stat.
His starting nine, like, don't get me wrong, the dude is a legend. I give you that.
The GOAT.
But I'm just saying, she can do fine in terms financially. She can afford a $5 slice of pizza.
Well, I hope they're blessed with longevity, because if not, Jeter's just going to start racking them up again.
Well, Jeter's done playing. I think this is it for him. I think he's...
You mean baseball, or are we talking about the other game?
Both.
Yeah, I'm assuming both.
Okay, how much, Dan, don't answer, Evan, don't want you to get in trouble. So it's just Velasquez.
Oh, God.
At an auction,
How
much would you pay for Derek Jeter's Black Book?
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
Wow.
How much is that worth?
I don't know how much I have left in my account. can
Just make her pay for the clearly they'll pay for the pizza.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about paying for dinner.
Right, exactly. I can just find. Hopefully, he's got like little icons in there that says she'll pay for her own food.
I mean,
She'll pay for your food because
he'll probably never
clearly I'll need
divulge
it after
this.
that.
Like he'll never divulge this information like a superhead or somebody else who wants to air guys out because he'll never be broke. But in the case that he did, I feel like Jeter might have some of the most epic bachelor stories of all time. All time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man! All right. Well, Derek Jeter getting married, and congratulations to him and his much younger bride to be.
Hey, man, hope this works out. If not, man, get back in the game, get your stats up.
Shoot your shot.
You see how fast Dan is learning? I'm impressed. First Janelle, now this.
Shoot your shot.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. This actually happened, and once again, for the third week in a row, we will invite in our. Sorry, I'm still lost. We'll invite into our studio here the great Tom Brokaw, who will introduce our first story.
Former NFL star Eddie George will play lawyer Billy Flynn in Chicago on Broadway.
Oh man,
Never gets old.
Oh, it doesn't. This story makes me really mad because can you imagine this guy? I don't know if he can sing or
Well,
whatever.
so
it
when
is.
we worked with him, he was doing in Nashville. He was doing Othello, the Shakespeare play.
Wow.
In the theater there in Nashville. So he's been chasing this dream for a while in terms of doing acting on stage. So hey, good for him to get a gig like this. I just happened to see a good high school friend in a performance of Chicago here in a theater, and. It's an interesting role to see him in. It kind of works. You got to have a little bit of machismo, a little attitude, a little ego to play that role of Billy Flynn. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. What lasts longer, Derek Jeter and Hannah Davis's marriage, or Eddie George's run on Broadway?
Oh, that's easy.
I'm taking Jeter.
Yeah, Jeter.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what.
I'll take Kendall Jenner and D'Angelo Russell's relationship.
what I meant to ask.
Yeah,
That's what I meant to ask.
No, I'll take that over.
All right, next up, this actually happened with Tom Brokaw.
Swallow dipper shellfish, Adrian Peterson's peculiar sickness.
Oh man! So the story here is this is a article that came out, and they were talking about how prevalent dip is on the sidelines, and that actually AP got sick this past week from swallowing.
Well, I think the story came out because of Adrian Peterson
Getting sick, yeah.
He randomly on the injury report was listed as questionable
Saturday night.
On Saturday night, and then Jay Glazer comes out on the Fox pregame show on Sunday and says, well, he had some shellfish. And a couple years ago, he had an anaphylactic shock because of some shrimp he ate, because apparently it's a minor allergy of his. But then Chris Myers, doing the sideline reporting for the Vikings game on Sunday, after Glazer came out and said it was shellfish, Myers said it was because he swallowed some dip on the plane and choked on it and like ingested it. And then Peterson came out after the game and said, oh no, I just had some shrimp and whatever.
But he backtracked on that. Why do you eat shrimp when you're allergic to it? Well, here's the thing. I've eaten shrimp my entire life. Like, okay, so it was the dip, Adrian.
Well, he made a point that like it's like you take an allergy test and they test you for like lobster, scallops, shrimp, and like peanut butter. And he says, you eat all those things in a row, and maybe it's really the lobster that sets you off, but the shrimp not as much. And it's kind of like we have a coworker who is lactose. He can't have pizza, but every now and then he'll do it. He'll put up with it and he'll have it. Like some people do that if it's not a serious allergy. They still eat the food they're not supposed to eat.
He's random. Shrimp is a little reaction for me. Lobster and especially scallops. That's when I really swell up. So I can kind of get away with it eating shrimp. How about you just stay away from it altogether?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like. I don't have any allergies to food.
Let's
but
put this out there. Adrian Peterson's not a smart man. Like, we know that. We've known that for a long time. So this is not surprising. The dip thing was apparently a joke that Turner made, according to all these, and then people just kind of ran with it. Like, either one of these options is totally feasible with Adrian Peterson. I think he just got sick because he's sick and tired of Norv Turner's play calling. Because that makes me freaking sick to my stomach every time I watch.
Hey, channeling your inner Willie Beeman could actually help because every time Willie barfed, he balled out. So AD, if he has to...
He had 98 yards on 19 carries. Granted, 75 of them came on one run, but that's all you need from Peterson.
The one interesting thing I took out of this article was that this reporter asked players what they thought the percentage of NFL players that actually use dip. And this is not something that most people associate with NFL, obviously baseball. Yeah. And he said the lowest estimate was 40% and the highest was 60%. I mean, that seems like a lot.
If you ever see them pan the camera on the sidelines, you do see a ton of people, especially offensive linemen.
It's so crazy.
And especially the guys who are not dressed, the guys who are inactive.
Sure. I can see that, but
I saw a video, in fact, today, too, that it was Jay Gruden on the field before the game being told by, I can't remember which a front office guy it was for the Redskins, saying, like Jay pulls out his little tin and he starts pulling out, and then the guy's like, no, put that away, and he kind of closes it up, puts it back in his pocket.
See,
so coaches, I'm not surprised.
Why doesn't Jay Gruden get sick and go on a permanent leave of absence? What do we have to do to get that?
Lucky.
Some things we'll never know.
I think you need to send him a special tin of Copenhagen and get him.
All right, our final bit here in This Actually Happened, Tom.
FIFA releases its list of presidential nominees. Names include Jerome Champagne and Tokyo Sexwale. Now, to clarify, apparently Tokyo Sexwale.
Evan doing Tom Brokaw saying Tokyo Sexwale. I need that as my text tone. Tokyo Sexwale.
David Naked.
All right, so have me clarify what's going on here.
JP seeing these names for the first time.
Yeah, he is seeing it for the first time.
So they're having the FIFA presidential election next February, and the list of nominees came out. And I read apparently it's Tokyo Sexwale. He's South African.
Sexwale.
Apparently,
that's freaking.
But it's spelled Sexwale. It should be Sexwale.
Sexwale.
Because of the rapper's Wale, so that's still Sexwale.
Right. But anyway, it's apparently Sexwale, and his name first name's Tokyo because you really like karate. I don't know. Anyway, David. It's spelled Nakid.
It's David Naked.
Nakhid, but you would think naked. He apparently already pulled out of the.
I bet he did.
Election because he.
Hi-yo!
Now I got to find a rim shot.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't have the support.
Obviously.
We've got. It's just what a great list of names.
Oh my God, Jerome Champagne. Seriously, I want to
Jerome
hear his
Champagne.
mixtape.
Yeah, is that Ron Mexico's cousin?
Maybe.
We have a Hussein and a Khalifa in this group as well.
Yeah, Gianni Infanto.
Prince Ali bin Al Hussein.
Moosability.
Wow.
I mean, that just sounds. Yeah,
that sounds like an app.
I know.
Sounds like something Jay Billis would say during the NBA draft.
Yeah, he's got great wingspan and moosability.
Because his lateral movement is just amazing, but his moosability is what puts him over the top. He's a lottery pick.
Oh man!
Do you think D'Angelo Russell? Do you think that's what Kendall Jenner loves about D'Angelo Russell? His moosability.
What if it was Dick Vitale? Moosability, baby. Diaper daddy, moosability.
All day, every day.
Oh jeez.
Oh goodness.
Well, either way, I hope one of these names gets picked so that we have
too.
somebody to report on for a
I
while.
hope it's Tokyo Sexwale.
Sepp Blatter's still going to be president in like 5 years anyway.
I mean, I know millions of you are listening, so if you want to change your Twitter handle to some of these names, please feel free. And then tag us.
Yeah, please. Okay. Sexwale.
All
right. Let's move on to our one-liner game previews for the big games this weekend. Evan, you going to handle college today?
Sure.
All right, here we go. There aren't a lot of great matchups this week in college, so we kind of had to dig in here. Let's go Pac-12. We're going to go Stanford, 12-point favorites over Wazoo, who's actually 5-2.
Yeah, God, I mean that makes me puts me in shock there. Washington State 5-2 in a football season. I will go with.
He forgot it's one-liner preview.
Yeah, this is not one line clearly.
Period.
David Shaw, period.
Wow.
Okay. Calling the coaching.
He kind of just channeled his inner Buffalo Bill wide receiver there.
He did.
All right, next up, Notre Dame, 10-point favorites at Temple, this is probably the biggest game in their
College game day is going to be there.
In their program history, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Hootie hoo. Owls upset Irish.
Whoa, you heard it here first. Hootie.
Wow.
Hoo. All right. Now we're just going to do two of the college game this week because there's just not a lot out there. A couple in the NFL. Brobes, you're going to handle these. Packers, 3-point favorites in Mile High against the Broncos. 2 undefeated teams there.
Manning gets his groove back, period.
Okay, noodle arm.
Next up, the Bengals in Pittsburgh against the Steelers, who should have Big Ben back.
Antonio Brown hat trick.
Calling the 3 touchdowns.
3 TDs.
All right. Any thoughts on any of those guys?
One of those could be a rushing, one could be a punt return, but 3 TDs.
All right, those are your one-liner previews for this week. First and foremost, we are all fans here in the bullpen, so we're going to take our final score predictions for some big matchups this weekend as we wrap up the show. Let's start in college football, guys. San Jose State is off this weekend, so I'm free
you get off,
and
Dan.
clear to not make a prediction for them to lose, which is nice. Let's start with Arizona State, Oregon. This is a Thursday night, and the Sun Devils 2.5-point favorites here. Brandon, let's start with you.
ASU 23, Oregon 21. They don't cover, but they still get the win. That offense just doesn't do it for me. The defense is solid enough, and they're at home, but that offense scares me.
Oregon's offense scares you.
No.
ASU's
Well,
offense in terms
Oregon's
of
offense scares
consistency.
me is that they have better athletes. Right. ASU's offense scares me is that they just can't do anything right, it seems like.
Yeah.
They can't figure it out. They figure it out, but then they fall back and
Yeah, Oregon's offense has done nothing after Byron Marshall got hurt for the year. They really haven't, even before he got hurt. They've been all right. 2.5 over under 65. I'm going to go ASU 28, Oregon 24.
If the receivers catch the rock, y'all should be in the game.
right.
Yeah, that's the problem with it's the receiving core for ASU.
Big if.
All right, next up, USC 6-point favorites against Cal. JP?
Got to ride this momentum. Cal always plays tough. Jared Goff's probably going to toss the ball around the field, probably going to have big numbers. Helton understands that he needs to run the ball to win, which he has proven. We got this one. Let's make this 38-31. Close game, but we edge it out.
All right, USC keeps rolling. NFL action. Let's start with the pick of the week. Probes. Let's start with the Vikings. 1-point favorites in Chicago.
And that is a sexy 1 point right there.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's a safety waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Why is that so low?
Well, it's in Chicago.
It's the 3 points for Chicago,
right,
but
yeah.
then
So and Minnesota has not. I can't remember the last time they won in Chicago. Regardless of how bad that Bears team is, this game scares the crap out of me. But I'll still take the Vikings 20-17.
49ers, Rams, St. Louis 8-point favorites at home. Ev, where are you going with this?
I'm going Rams 27-10. Niners got nothing going right now offensively. Then again, last time I said that on the road, they went to New York and actually
Made it a game.
made it a game. But
Reverse jinx.
I'm actually going to go the opposite way. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about the 49ers will win a game they'll win a game against the Rams, and it'll probably be in St. Louis, and I'm going to say this is it, like 13-10, some just fumble fest.
But no. As long as Carlos Hyde doesn't fumble, okay, let's make that.
Yeah, well,
note.
for fantasy purposes, absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah,
And lastly, Washington
they're on a bye.
correctly on bye this week.
This time they're finally on a bye.
Yeah, so
Okay,
they're on bye.
right. You like it. Yo,
Oh.
Kirk Cousins is a meese for that. Like he should just
do you
probably
not know what he was talking about?
No,
Did you just see that video, Kirk Cousins?
no. I saw he has some kind of shirt, right?
Oh.
Yeah, he was yelling at the media
After they had the comeback win against
because
Tampa.
they were on his helmet. After he threw an interception to the worst football player in the NFL who didn't catch it. So, yeah, Conti.
He was
by the
running
way.
back past the media section. He was like, "You like that? You like that?"
Aggressive.
Yeah. So next game he'll throw 4 interceptions. So there's that.
Okay, we're gonna throw a random hockey one in.
Yeah,
here,
last
too.
one here before the show, before we wrap it up here. Sharks Stars on Halloween night. I'm a Sharks fan. Evan's a Sharks fan locally. And, of course, Probes is a Stars fan from his Minnesota days. So we've decided Evan and JP can pick the stakes here for the wager.
Dano and I are gonna make the bet.
We're gonna make the bet on Halloween night.
I'm calling Stars 3-2 win. Niemi gets it in his return.
And I'll
to-
just take
to
the
San
Sharks by
Jose.
1-2.
And what's the wager? That
Well,
we got?
that's
What
what,
are
we're
the
asking
stakes?
you.
What
We're
are the
asking you
stakes?
guys. Like what?
And
should
we'll
we do?
report back
Should-
next week on how it
should we
went.
do brewskis or
You get to punch him in the solar plexus one time
wow?
because hockey players fight. So one body shot.
I was gonna say loser buys the winner a cribbage set.
Okay, there it is.
There you have it.
I'll punch you in the solar plexus with a cribbage set.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of The Bullpen. Thanks for tuning in as always. JP, take us out.
I want to shout out my friend Alessandra Barles, who lost her life this week. Real sad. She listened to the podcast. She was an amazing human being, selfless. Oh, man. I'm going to miss her a lot. Bless her family. Bless her in heaven. And, yeah, man, I miss you, Alessandra. Thanks for everything you did while on God's green earth. God got another angel for the Army.